Tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're stepping into a world where agony was ordinary and survival was its own kind of silent rebellion. A time when every breath had to earn its place. When death came not with a sword, but in the soundless passage of breath between bodies. You don't know it yet, but this day, your day, will echo through time. One day, long after your bones have turned to dust, a stranger will whisper your story and wonder how you endured when the world fell silent. Now, close your eyes. Let everything around you disappear. The hum of machines, the electric lights overhead, the walls, the screens, the world you know. Let it all fall away. The ground shifts beneath you. The air thickens, time stretches thin, then vanishes. You open your eyes, and the sky above is familiar, but not. It's pale, colourless, like parchment soaked in smoke. The sun hangs crooked, not blazing, but flickering, like an oil lamp in its last hour. You are in Europe, but no map remembers this place, and the year is 165 CE. The empire is Rome, but you are not Roman. You belong to someone. No documents mark your name. No parchment tracks your birth. To the world, you are simply property. A body, a tool, a shadow that sweats and bleeds. The chains don't rattle, not anymore. They live deeper now, in your back, your jaw, the silence you've swallowed. And now, a new sickness has come. They call it the Antonine Plague. Some say it came from the east, carried in the lungs of soldiers returning from Parthia. Others whisper it is divine punishment, that Jupiter is angry, that Apollo has turned his face, that Rome's pride has rotted its core. But you know better. You smell the truth. Rot, iron, fear. It's in the straw beneath you, in the tunics of the dying, in the warm, wet coughs that echo at night. You live in a structure of wood and mould. Not a home, not a prison, just a place. The roof leaks, the walls crack, the floor is always damp. You used to share this space with 10 others. This morning, there are 9. No one speaks of it. No prayers are whispered. No grave is dug. The body was dragged outside before dawn. The overseer does not allow mourning. Mourning slows the hands. And Rome still demands her tribute, in grain, in labour, in you. You rise slowly. Every joint protests. Your ribs are sharper now. Your skin sags where it once stretched. Everyone is thinner, greyer, quieter. Through a crack in the wall, you hear chanting. Some ritual has begun. You do not care which god is being summoned. They've all gone silent. Even Asclepius, god of healing, has abandoned you. You had your own gods once, but their names are gone now. Faint syllables from a mother tongue you've stopped dreaming in. You were taken too young to remember your mother's face, but old enough to remember the screams when the ship left the shore. That was another life. Now you are called, boy, move, faster. But today, something is different. There is a stillness in the air. Not peace, never peace, just breathlessness. Like the world is waiting, or like it already knows. You step outside. The sun hasn't climbed high. but the heat already clings to your skin, sticky, sour, wrong. The road is empty, the carts don't roll. Even the dogs, those ragged scavenging beasts, are gone. You see her, the girl who once worked beside you in the fields. She limps now. There are red marks on her neck, too many. She will not last the week. You want to ask, are you okay? But you don't. The words don't exist here. Kindness is dangerous. The last person who offered it disappeared before sundown. You walk to the well. No one waits, no laughter, no gossip, just a bucket, a rope, a creek. You lower it. It splashes. You drink quickly. No taste, just wet. And then you look at the sky, at the pale hills, and you wonder, is this how it ends, quietly, without warning? You've seen men cough at breakfast and die by dusk. You've seen purple bloom on children's skin. You've seen the last breath, a flutter, then nothing, and still you rise, because if you stop, they'll notice, and if they notice, they'll punish, so you keep moving. The wind carries incense and burnt fat. Another offering, another plea, another silence from the gods. And still, you go on. You lift your first tool. Wrap your fingers around the splintered wood. Let the ache settle back into your bones. And somewhere, beneath all of this, a memory stirs. A lullaby. Your mother's voice. Or maybe someone else's. Software forgotten, but still yours. You carry it with you. As the sun climbs, as the fields wait, as the sickness circles, and you survive. Not because you're strong, not because you're free, but because this world hasn't taken your last breath yet. And as long as you breathe, your story breathes with you. Before your eyes even open, something burns your nose. It is sharp, sour. It clings like invisible smoke, a rancid fog made of rot, sweat, and something else. Rotting leather, wet straw, sweat that isn't yours. You slept in someone else's cloak last night, not because you wanted to, because yours was taken. The man who owned this one is dead now. You didn't know his name. No one did. No one asked. You shift your weight to sit up. Your body howls. Every joint whispers pain. 1,000 little knives just under your skin. The ground beneath you is damp and uneven, pressed by too many bodies for too many nights. You blink. Light filters in through the slats overhead. Dust spins in golden beams. Beautiful, almost holy. But the truth is in your mouth. It tastes like cloth and iron, like blood that isn't fresh, like metal that doesn't shine. You look around. Half the people you fell asleep beside are gone. Some were taken before dawn. Some still lie here, but their chests no longer rise. You've learned not to check for pulse. Too slow, too dangerous. Just watch the chest. If it moves, they live. If it doesn't, don't touch them. Don't even whisper a goodbye. You don't have time for grief. No one does. You drag yourself to your knees. A rat darts past your foot. You don't flinch. They're your only consistent companions now. Fat, fearless, and well-fed. The sun is barely up, but already the flies are thick. You wipe your cheek, Something crusted there during the night. You don't want to know what it was. From the corner of the room, you hear coughing. A boy, no older than 10, wet, sharp. Each cough spits blood onto the dirt. No one moves, no one helps. They can't afford to. You rise, your legs shake, your stomach groans. But this isn't normal hunger. It's older, deeper, the kind of hunger that changes your bones, that makes your ribs feel like they're folding inward. Still, you move. The door groans as you push it open. The air outside is not better. You'd hoped for relief, a whisper of breeze, a trace of life. But the sun has already begun to bake the world, and with it, the stink of the dying rises. It's everywhere now, sweet, like overripe grapes, sour, like spoiled milk, thick, like blood drying on warm stone. This is Rome, the empire of marble, law, and order. And still death seeps through the stones. You pass a pile of old linens, cloth soaked in fluids, from the nose, from the mouth, from the wounds that won't close. They will not be washed. They will be burned, eventually. Until then they rot. You step over the puddles, carefully, but not delicately. There is no such thing as clean here. Only filth, and more filth. Every breath feels like swallowing wood ash. In cities like Rome, even before plague, the streets reeked of human waste, spoiled food, animal blood. Public toilets overflowed. Bathhouses spread disease as easily as they cleansed. Now, with death at every door, sanitation is a myth. Survival comes in stench. You glance toward the road, where carts once rolled in daily, where orders came from the capital, where food and fresh faces arrived. Now, nothing, no carts, no horses, no sound, just a donkey tied to a fence post, chewing weeds with ribs like yours. Beyond the outer fence, you see it, a body, laid out in the dirt, no shroud, no burial, just a broken hand curled around a clump of grass. You tell yourself not to look, but your eyes betray you. The skin is turning black. The flies hum in his ears. His mouth is open, like he died mid-sentence. You wonder what he was trying to say. You reach the water station. Only 2 others stand there. Yesterday, there were 20. You step forward. The bucket is warm. The water is low. You splash your face, not to clean, just to feel, to remind yourself that your skin still reacts, that your blood still warms. The overseer walks behind you. He doesn't stop. You hear him cough, dry and ragged. You wonder how long he has left. As you turn to leave, something catches your eye. A girl, maybe your age. She's scrubbing the granary steps with a rag soaked in vinegar. White streaks mark the stone. The smell is sharp, medicinal, astringent. You've heard the whispers. Vinegar draws out sickness. Vinegar keeps the spirits away. Vinegar is better than nothing. She sees you. Her eyes are wide and empty. She doesn't speak, neither do you. You keep walking. There is no task today, no list, no orders. That, more than anything, terrifies you. Because when Rome goes silent, it means it's bleeding. You find a shaded corner behind the grain shed. You sit, not to rest, to hide. For a moment, the world stills. You hear a reed rustle. You hear a distant scream. Not sudden, not sharp. Just a long, slow wail from someone realizing they've been forgotten. You rest your head against the wall. And then your chest tightens. Not memory, not sorrow, fear. Your first task today is simple. Stay alive long enough to see midday. That's it. Not to escape, not to dream, not even to hope. Just live, breath by breath, until the sun is overhead. You no longer count time in hours. You measure it in aches. When the pain moves from your knees to your back, it's morning. When your neck stiffens and the shadows shrink, it's almost noon. And if your hands go numb again, maybe, just maybe, you'll make it to dusk. But for now, your stomach twists, gnawing, hollow, angry. You search for food, not with expectation, with instinct. You spot a pile of barley mash near the granary wall, grey, cold, smelling of damp wood and old salt. You've eaten worse. You walk over. There's no line. That's not a good sign. A dead rat lies nearby, swollen, stiff. You kneel anyway. You eat anyway. With your fingers, you scoop a mouthful. Gritty, bland, a hint of rust. Maybe from the pot, maybe from something else. It doesn't matter. It fills you. And just for a moment, the hunger loosens. You look around. Everyone moves slower than yesterday. Coughs, limps, red marks on arms, necks, faces. One man, maybe 40, tries to lift a sack of wheat. He drops it. Twice. He coughs. No one helps. No one looks. It's not cruelty. It's fear. A cold, old, heavy fear. The kind that teaches you to keep your eyes down and your hands busy. You stand. Your next task. Carry water to the olive trees, western wall, half-dead saplings. You carry a broken clay pot, its rim chipped, handle wrapped in fraying cloth. You walk slowly. Each step a silent argument between will and body. You reach the ditch, muddy, shallow, insects skimming its surface, but it's water, and water is everything. You kneel, fill the pot. It's heavier than you expect. Even now, after everything, your body remembers what it once was. Free, federal, software. Now you are bone and sinew. Still, you walk, you reach the trees, young, fragile. Ordered by the overseer last week, you pour the water carefully, as if you still believe things might grow here. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. You whisper a prayer anyway, not to anyone, just out of habit. A shadow passes along the fence. You freeze, a Roman soldier, on horseback. He doesn't look at you. He doesn't need to. His armor gleams. His horse steps cleanly around bloodstains, as if it knows, as if it's learned to smell death. You watch him pass. Something flickers in your chest. Not hatred, not envy, just distance. He lives in a different world. Baths, wine, polished shields. You live in this one. Mud, hunger, quiet terror. You return the pot. Your arms ache. The sky brightens. Heat thickens. Your tunic sticks to your back. It hasn't been washed in weeks. The fabric scratches where your ribs poke through. You find shade beside a broken column. You sit, just for a moment. Nearby, a girl picks lice from her sleeve. She hums softly. No words, just melody, a ghost of a song. You close your eyes just for a breath, and then it hits you. What if they notice I don't belong here? What if they see it? The way your eyes linger too long, the way you flinch at every cough, the way you breathe differently. What if they realize you're still hoping? That's the real danger. Hope makes you visible. Hope makes you hesitate. Hope makes you slow down when others move like shadows. I shouldn't feel this. I shouldn't care. I should just work. But you do. You still think about the world beyond the fence. The cities, the temples, the sea. You once saw the sea, grey, loud, endless. You were chained in the belly of a ship. Sick, young, they dragged you up for air. And you saw it, the vastness, the impossible blue. The wind tore at your skin, but you smiled. You didn't know why. You wonder if you'll ever see it again. A voice calls your name, not your real name. You don't have that anymore. Just a sound they use to make you turn. You rise. A man points at the stones near the bathhouse. Stack them. No reason, no nod, just motion. You obey, stone by stone. Lift, stack, lift again. Your hands are raw, your fingers cracked. You keep going. The sun rises higher, you feel lightheaded, not from heat, not from plague, from being, but you keep going. Because stopping means questions, and questions mean attention, and attention kills. You finish. No one says anything. No thanks, no nod, nothing. You sit behind the bathhouse. The wind changes. You smell smoke, not cooking fires. This is sharper, darker. You follow it. Behind a wall of stone, you find it. A fire, burning cloth, burning hair. Maybe more. They're burning the dead again. You don't cry. You haven't cried in months. Not when your bunkmate died. Not when your friend collapsed. Not when the girl who used to sing disappeared overnight. You stopped. Because if you start, you may never stop. The wind shifts. A scrap of cloth drifts down near your foot. Black, charred, still warm. You pick it up, hold it, then let it fall. The sun is nearly overhead now. You've made it. You are still breathing. You are still here. And for now, that is enough. There is no room for weakness in this world, because even the gods are watching, but not with mercy, not with grace, not with kindness, with appetite, with judgment. And today, like every day, your body will bow, not because you believe, but because belief is no longer yours to choose. Obedience is survival. The bell tolls from the courtyard. Dull, rust-bitten, weather-worn. It rings through the morning like a cracked bone snapping skyward. You rise before you even think. The motion is burned into your bones. Your knees ache. Your stomach twists from yesterday's bread. Still, you rise, you walk, you follow the others. Toward the temple, not Rome's temple, with its gleaming columns and perfumed shadows. This one is old, cracked, provincial, a roof stitched from reeds, frescoes faded into ghostlight, stone that remembers every footstep before yours. But here, this is sacred, because here the gods still live, in fire, in blood, in silence. The priest stands at the altar. His robe is not dirty, it is stained, with wine, with ash, with time. He does not speak, he waits, and so do you. Until someone kneels, then another, then you, because you must, even if your heart has hardened, even if your mind is hollowed. Still, you kneel. The stone is cold, smoothed by years of knees and grief. You lower your eyes. A wisp of incense curls toward the rafters, sharp and sickly. Pine tar, rotting figs, burnt sugar. The sting finds your eyes. You breathe through your mouth. But the gods enter anyway. The priest begins his chant, dry, low, like leaves across a grave. The words are older than memory, Latin, Greek, maybe something else. You don't understand, you don't need to. Understanding is not part of the ritual. Obedience is. You listen, you kneel, you exist. That's enough. First comes salt, then oil, then blood. A chicken, throat cut clean. It twitches once, then stills. The priest collects the blood in a silver bowl, chipped with time. He stirs it with laurel. You do not look away. You've seen worse. Behind the altar, a mural, faded. A god stands over a kneeling man, sword in hand, eyes wild. The man does not resist, only surrenders. You once asked what it meant. The answer was simple. The strong take. The weak become divine through obedience. You believed that once. Now you just survive it. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. The words slither in, not spoken, not heard, but remembered. From deep in your marrow, you feel them coil in your chest. The priest approaches. He smears a line across your brow. Ash, blood, it's warm. You lower your eyes. You do not flinch. You do not wipe it away. Even superstition is armor. You remember your old gods, not Roman, not sculpted in marble, but gods of the forest, of rivers, of wind and fire. Your mother sang their names once, under moonlight, by the sea. They punished the cruel, they protected the kind. But here, kindness is a myth, and cruelty is routine. You bow your head, not in worship, in stillness, a breath of silence between orders. A single beat of being before you are nothing again. Someone near you is crying. A woman, thin, breathless. The weeping is not loud, just steady, like rain through broken rafters. No one touches her. The priest does not pause. The gods do not answer. The ritual continues. Bread is broken, wine is poured. Not for you, never for you, for them, the ones in rings and cloaks and gold, the ones who speak of balance, empire and sacrifice, never their own. You remain kneeling. The ash on your forehead dries, it itches, you do not scratch it. There is power in stillness, power in pretending. You glance up one last time. The blood has stopped dripping. The incense has nearly burned down, but the silence is heavier than ever. You feel it. Eyes, not seen, not real, but watching, not watching you, watching through you. As if your body is no longer yours, but a symbol. You are not a person here. You are a message, a warning. a living offering in a world that feeds on submission. The final chant ends. The priest raises his hand. It is finished. You rise. Your legs tremble, but you do not stumble. You walk, and as you pass the temple threshold, a breeze rises. The ash lifts from your brow. It swirls into the air, like a soul, like memory, like breath from a dying god. You do not look back. The gods will not follow you, but the ritual will. You are not just a servant, you are the offering. You carry it with you now, in your scars, in your silence, in the way your feet remember how to move, even when your heart forgets why. It follows you into the fields, into the workshops, into the dreams you no longer allow yourself to dream. There is no law that protects you, only power. And power here is not fairness. It is not order. It is a robe, a name, a glance that does not need to linger to destroy you. A hand that can break your ribs and call it correction. You're standing in the sun again. The ash from this morning's ritual still burns the corners of your eyes. Your knees still remember the cold sting of the temple floor. But now, you're standing in the road, not by choice, by command. The governor's cart is coming. You hear it before you see it. Iron-rimmed wheels crunching gravel, mules snorting beneath gilded harnesses, the hush of silk, the slap of polished sandals on stone. You lower your head, not in reverence, but necessity. No one told you to. You just know. Slaves do not look powerful men in the eye. He passes. You don't dare raise your head. But your eyes drift. You see enough. White robes, a purple sash, a golden fibula near his shoulder, glinting like a sunbeam forged into jewelry. And his face, still, smooth, unbothered. He doesn't look at you. He doesn't have to. To him, you're not a person. You're a movement in the periphery. A sound behind the curtain. A breath the empire exhales. You could drop dead in the road, and the cart would not slow. Someone would drag your body away. The dust would settle, and Rome would keep breathing. Centuries from now, historians will wonder what his name meant. They'll dig up marble busts, coins stamped with his face, scrolls calling him Marcus Vibius Aelianus, governor of Noricum, defender of order, but they won't know that his hands shook the night his wife coughed blood, that he slapped a boy for sneezing too close, that he made wine offerings while beating those who poured it. They will never know what it was to stand in his shadow, with your breath held, your body silent, your name already erased. But you will. You always will. The cart disappears. The dust settles, and only then do you breathe. Slow, measured, like lungs learning again. A guard flicks a hand toward you. You move. You pass the stables, the cage. 2 runaway slaves were dragged back last week. One hasn't moved in 2 days. No one checks. Because slaves are not people. They are functions. If you break, you are replaced. No court asks why. There are laws in Rome, scrolls, edicts, tablets, but none for you. You are res, a thing, property, not a citizen, not a voice. If someone kills you, it is not murder. It is damage, like a cracked vase or a torn cloak. You heard it once, whispered near a hearth. A man may beat his slave until the bone shows, and still call it discipline. You didn't need to be told. Your back already knew. There are hierarchies even in chains. The villa slaves, the kitchen girls, the tutors who still pronounce Latin like nobility. They eat better, speak smoother, but don't be fooled. They still bleed. They just bleed through linen. You round the corner. 2 men lifting grain. One drops the sack. The overseer is there before the sack hits the dirt. His rod rises, comes down, once, twice, not enough to kill, just enough to remind. You look away. Your legs tense. A reflex, a whisper of a thought. Run! But where? The forests are patrolled. The cities are watched. And even if you made it out, you bear the mark, branded, permanent. You are not a man. You are inventory. But here's the truth you've learned. Even inventory can think. Even a number can remember what it used to be before the counting began. You remember your brother. You were sold together, separated 3 months in. You haven't seen him since. But sometimes you whisper his name. When the wind is loud, when the stars are visible, when you think no one is listening. You wonder if he's alive, if he remembers your face, if he still says your name when the fires are low. You pass a marble column, a carving runs up its side. Legions in triumph, laurel crowns, eagles held aloft. At the bottom, a line of kneeling captives. One of them looks like you. You keep walking. A dog barks, a whip cracks, a pot shatters behind you. The world moves, unfeeling, unchanging, and still so do you. Because even if the law doesn't name you, even if power wears someone else's face, even if the empire would rather forget you ever lived, you have one power left: to endure, to exist, to carry the weight, to hold up the world while others ride past you in carriages, leaving scrolls, coins, statues. They write their names in marble. But marble cracks. Names fade. Centuries from now, no one may know who you were. But they will live because you did. Your blood will flow through people who do not know your story. Your strength will echo in those who were never chained. You will still be here, in the silence, in the breath, in the beating of history's heart. You haven't spoken all day, not a word, not a syllable. No one asked, no one listened. And even if they had, you're not sure your voice still knows how to rise above a whisper. Yes, sorry, please, that's all you've said for weeks. Your throat is dry, not from thirst. You've made peace with that kind of hunger. This is something else. A dryness from silence, from quiet that nestles into the hollows of your chest and begins to live there like a ghost. You sit alone, beneath the half-collapsed granary wall. A sliver of shade shelters your back. Your hands hold the same tool they always do. Rough, splintered, heavy, its shape has molded to your fingers now. Or maybe your fingers have molded to it. It doesn't matter, you hold it the way a drowning man clutches a piece of driftwood. Not because it will save you, but because it's all that's left. But today it feels heavier. As if it knows what's been growing in your thoughts, that whisper you've tried to push away. Maybe I'm not meant for this, not made for this dust, this silence, this slow erasure. The sun hangs in the sky, too still, too bright. It should not be this blue. It looks like a lie, like paint on a temple ceiling. Like something a rich man dreams when he closes his eyes during a feast. You look up anyway. You squint, as if the gods might answer you through the glare. But they don't. They never do. Not anymore. You remember how you used to pray? On your knees, palms pressed, words spilling out like water during a storm. Now, you don't even know where to send the words, not which God, not which direction, not even what language. The priest still chants, the incense still burns, blood still pours over altars. But the heavens remain shut, tight, cold, unreachable, no omen, no dream, no wind, just silence. You shift. The ground beneath you is dry and hot. Packed earth, crushed straw, a sliver of someone else's old bone. You dig your fingers into it, just to feel something, to find the boundary between your skin and the world. But there's nothing, just more dirt, just more loss. You close your eyes, and in the dark, something returns. A face. Not clearly, not fully, just a breath of someone, a woman maybe, warm hands, a soft laugh, the scent of something baked and sweet. You open your eyes, the face is gone. You try to name her, but the name won't come. And somehow that pain hurts more than any lash, more than hunger. Because it means this place is working, it's winning, it's grinding you down to dust, not just your body, but your memory. One thought at a time, one face at a time, until you are no longer a person, just emotion, just labor, just another tool left out in the sun. You stand, you lift the tool again, your arms tremble. No one notices. Or maybe they do, and pretend not to. Because weakness spreads fast here, and no one wants to catch it. Still, you swing, still you dig. Still, you lift. One breath at a time. Because the rhythm is safer than the thinking. Strike, lift, stack, repeat. The sun presses down. Sweat stings your eyes, your tunic clings to your ribs, your stomach folds in on itself. Someone coughs, deep, rattling, no one turns, you pause, just for a second, too long. A voice slices the air, harsh, sharp. You nod, you move faster, not because you're afraid of the punishment, but because you're afraid of being seen. Being seen is worse. It means attention, and attention draws cruelty. You've learned that invisibility is safer than humanity. The horn sounds, midday rest, but no one really rests. They just stop moving. They breathe, they sag, they wait. You sit against a cracked wall. You look at your hands, calloused, cracked, old, older than you feel. They still tremble, like they're holding something, even when they're not. You wipe your face. It tastes like metal. You think about crying. Your body won't let you. Not anymore. You haven't cried since they took your friend away, dragged him from the sleeping quarters. He didn't come back. That night, you bit your knuckles until blood came. Just to keep the sob in your throat, it worked. Too well. Now the tears don't come, even when your chest aches, even when your thoughts feel like knives. You whisper to yourself, I can't keep doing this. It's so quiet you almost don't hear it. But the words echo inside your skull, like a curse, like a prayer. You think of escape, not the kind with maps and horses, just lying down and not getting up, letting the world pass, letting the dust cover your name. But something inside you, small, tired, stubborn, won't allow it. It whispers back, not yet. So you breathe, slow, with effort, because every breath now is a decision. You look up, the sky is still blue, still empty, still pretending. And then you remember something strange. A line from long ago. You don't know where you heard it. But it returns now. Even stars are burning things, pretending to be beautiful. You wonder if that's what we are. Burning things, pretending, but you rise, because that's all you know. Because the earth will not hold you until you collapse. Because no one else will carry this weight for you. And maybe, somewhere out there, in the edge of the empire, or beyond the sea, or deep in someone's half-forgotten dream, someone still remembers your name. Or maybe they don't. But you do. And for now, that is enough. You are still breathing, even now, even here. The afternoon dies slow. The sun doesn't set, it sinks, like it's being dragged down, unwilling. The air thickens, still, too still. A silence deeper than silence. The kind animals hear before a storm. The kind the dead leave behind when they forget to scream. You're stacking firewood again. Lift, turn, stack. Splinters bite your fingers. Your arms ache. You stopped noticing long ago. But today, something feels wrong. Not loud, not clear, just wrong. You feel it along your spine. A chill that moves without wind. A whisper you don't yet understand. This is the day. You don't know what that means, but it won't leave you alone. Then a shout, sharp, sudden. Your head turns on instinct. A boy, young, too young, has dropped an amphora. It explodes across the courtyard, oil leaking like sunlight into the stone. He freezes, his whole body pulled tight like it might vanish if he stayed still enough. But nothing disappears here. Nothing escapes notice. The overseer sees. Of course he does. He storms forward, boots like hammers. His rod already in hand, old, splintered, heavy with history. Every scar on every back in this camp has tasted it. You don't breathe. No one does. Not out of shock, but because you've learned. If it's not you, it's not your problem. That's the rule. That's survival. The boy tries to speak. But the overseer doesn't come for answers. He comes for certainty. And certainty bleeds. The rod comes down. Once, twice, you flinch. Not from the sound, but from memory. Because you've been that boy. Same dirt, same bruise, same helpless breath. and before you know it, you're walking. One step, then another, the third strike draws blood. The boy crumples, small, shaking, silent, and suddenly you're no longer a shadow. You're in the open, you're seen. The overseer turns. He doesn't ask who you are. He knows. You were never meant to stand upright in front of him. Slaves don't interrupt. Slaves don't walk forward. Slaves don't choose. But today, you do. You speak. Enough. Just one word. Software, but sharper than the rod itself. He steps towards you, testing, like a wolf sniffing something unfamiliar. You think this is your place to speak? You don't answer, because answering turns it into a conversation. And it's not. It's a boundary, and you've already crossed it. Return to your post. The command hangs in the air like a loaded sling. You don't move. You step closer to the boy. You kneel, not to the overseer, to the child. Your hand touches his shoulder. He flinches, but doesn't pull away. And then the rod comes down. This time for you, straight at your face. You block it with your forearm. The pain is lightning, crackling, white-hot, pure, but you don't fall. Another swing, you duck, your foot slips in the spilled oil, but you don't fall, and now the overseer feels it, the shift, the tilt. He's not entirely in control anymore, because eyes are watching, dozens of them, not intervening, but witnessing. And when power is watched, even silence becomes rebellion. I'll have your skin nailed to the gate. But you're not afraid of death anymore. You've already died, a little, every day. You look at him, then speak again. No more. The words fall into the space between you like a lit torch. And then a third voice cuts the air. Older, rougher, sharper than steel on stone. A centurion, helmet in hand, cloak over his shoulder. The authority of 100 kills in every syllable. What's going on? The overseer turns, half bowing, already explaining. Disobedience, he lies. He interfered with punishment. The centurion doesn't nod. He looks at the blood on your arm, at the boy on the stones, at the courtyard frozen in breathless dread. Then he reaches for the rod, takes it from the overseer, without warning, without question. He studies it, turns it once in his hand, and then snaps it clean, effortless. The crack is quiet, but it breaks something bigger than wood. The overseer's mouth hangs open. The centurion doesn't look back. To you, he says, get cleaned up. Return to duty. To the boy, give him water, let him rest. Then, louder, to all, this isn't Rome. We need their hands, not their corpses. And then he walks away, just like that. But you don't. You stand in the space where fear used to live. And it's not empty anymore. Something else has grown there. Not pride, not revenge, something quieter. Older, dignity. You help the boy up. He leans into you, shaking, bleeding, breathing. He doesn't say thank you. He doesn't need to. You walk him into the shade. And for the first time in years, the weight you carry is shared. That night, no one talks about it, but everyone remembers. The cook gives you extra bread. Another slave nods at you in passing. Even the guards seem slower with their eyes. The overseer says nothing, but his silence is different now. His power was shaken, and even he knows the dust does not forget the line that was drawn, because today you did what no one dares to do. You stood, you chose, you spoke, and the sky didn't fall. The world shifted, even just an inch. And somewhere in that invisible movement, the Empire felt a crack. The day begins again. Not with a bell, not with a horn, not even with the bark of a command. Just wait. The same dull pressure in your chest, the same hollow ache in your joints, the same cruel understanding. Your breath is not your own. Your body belongs to someone else, but still you rise, because even submission is a kind of ritual now. Even endurance must wear discipline like a chain. No one asks for your strength. No one thanks you for it. They just take. Like the sun takes moisture from the soil. Like empire takes silence from its edges. You walk the yard. Your sandals, more leather memory than footwear, press grit and gravel into your soles. Each step stings. Each step reminds you. Pain is not an interruption here. It is the rhythm. Today, the rhythm shifts. You're sent to the metalworks. A new assignment. You don't know if that means punishment or favor. Here, everything is random, dressed in order. The heat slams you before the door opens. It's dark inside, but alive with flame. Furnaces hiss. Their mouths roar orange and red, like gods with bottomless hunger. The air shimmers, the ground smokes, your skin tightens. A man hands you tongs. One ear torn, face like rusted leather. He says nothing, just points. You understand, words don't live long here. They burn fast, like everything else. You begin. At first, the fire is unbearable. It touches places in you that even grief hadn't found. Your breath shortens, your eyes sting, your body protests, but Rome doesn't care, and you learn. You adapt, because pain too teaches. By midday, you're part of the forge. Grip, pull, hammer, shape, cool, repeat, not art, just precision. Not beauty, just survival. You make nails for ships you'll never sail, chains for gates you'll never pass, hooks for meat you'll never taste, knife handles for tables you'll never see. Everything you build goes somewhere you can't, but it's still you that makes it move. That means something. There's a code beneath the fire. You begin to read it. The ones who shape the tools shape more than tools. Fire bends metal, but it also listens. It remembers your grip. It obeys your rhythm. And when you strike it just right, you feel it surrender. Not in fear, in form. You make more than tools. You make value. You hammer tin tokens, slave currency. Not denarii, not Roman coin, but something quieter, hidden, the secret economy beneath empire. A broken clasp equals 1 token, half-rotted bread equals 3, a soft rag equals 5, a cup of porridge without insects, 10. Even here you trade, not openly, never openly, just a glance, a handoff, a whisper. A man sings for fruit. A woman sews for shelter. Someone offers a story. And for a moment, it buys silence. Even beauty is a currency. Even memory has a price. One afternoon, an old woman hands you a file. Not directly, just leaves it. She nods toward your wrist, then toward a rusted lock in a wooden box. Nothing is said, but everything is understood. She's reminding you, the tools you forge can also unmake. Not today, maybe not ever, but someday. That night, you don't sleep. You hold the file in your palm. You touch your fingers to your calluses, thick now, almost numb, and you begin keeping scraps. Bent nails, twisted wire, odd bolts, tiny nothings. Each one feels like a seed. You don't know what you're planting, but something in you believes it might bloom, not into freedom, not into escape, but into possibility. Days pass, nights pass, fire, hammer, cool, repeat. Sometimes a man collapses. Sometimes someone burns too deep. They vanish. No one speaks of it. You learn not to ask, because in this place, grief is a luxury and remembering is a risk. One morning, something shifts again. You're sent up the steps, to the main villa, to deliver tools. You walk slowly. The marble beneath your cracked feet feels wrong, too clean. You knock. A slave answers. He's not like you. He smells of lavender. His tunic is white. He looks through you. He takes the tools. Just before the door closes, you see it. A golden plate, a silver cup, a woman laughing. The sound is music, not because of the melody, but because of what it means. The world they live in, it's real. You've touched it now. For a moment, a glimpse, but you return. To the forge, to the heat, to the dust. And this time, your hammer strikes harder. Not out of rage, out of clarity. Your sweat becomes someone else's wine. Your breath becomes someone else's lullaby. Your silence becomes the hush in their marble hallways. But you're not nothing, because now you know. You've touched both worlds, and what you've seen, you'll never unsee. You know how to shape, how to bend, how to sharpen, how to hold fire and not flinch. That's not weakness, that's intelligence, and intelligence, that's the first tool they never meant for you to own. You hammer nails, but you also collect them. You forge blades, but measure their edges. You study locks, but memorize their weights. Someday, these things will matter. Not in rebellion, not in riot, but in resistance. The quiet kind. The kind that lives in glances, in shared bread, in files passed hand to hand, in memories not allowed to die. Tonight, you fall asleep whispering a name you once knew, maybe your mother's, maybe your own, and for a moment, you feel it again. Not freedom, not peace, but presence. You are here, still breathing, still building. The statues never stink, they never vomit, they never sweat, they never bleed. They are carved smooth and white, their mouths silent, their robes flowing, their faces eternal. But you live in a Rome that smells like urine and rot. You walk streets slick with animal blood, step over broken amphorae and dead flies. You listen to rats wrestle bread from children. You are not standing in marble, you are standing in muck. And this is Rome too. No mural speaks of it, no poem, no polished fresco on a villa's ceiling dares paint the sewage, the scars, the stench. But you smell it every morning. You wake in it, there's retching again. You glance toward the stables. A girl, young, too young, is doubled over, emptying bile into dust. Her lips are grey. Her skin shines with sweat. You count quietly. 1, 2, 3. She's the third to fall ill this week. Nobody moves to help. Not because they're cruel, because they're used to it. Here, sickness is as common as breath. It comes, it takes, it leaves silence behind. You remember the lies they told you when they took you. You're lucky. You're going to Rome. Rome is justice. Rome will feed you. Rome does not feed you. Rome feeds on you. It gnaws through your ribs, sucks the marrow, and names it order. You are not a soul here. You are fuel, and even that burns out eventually. You pass a painted wall, a mural. It shows a glowing boy offering grapes to a nobleman. He's smiling. His tunic is spotless. The master's hand reaches out, kind, gentle, paternal. You stop. You stare. You laugh, just a little. Software bitter, because you know the grapes sting when thrown. You know how fast a kind hand can become a fist. You know that smile wasn't painted from life. It was imagined. A myth to excuse the bruise. At the back of the estate, the stables are flooding. Not with rain, with sewage. A pipe burst 2 nights ago. No one fixed it. Now shit bubbles beneath the oxen. Flies blacken the air. Even the animals whimper, like they know what dignity is and mourn it. You're ordered to clean it, barefoot, no boots, no tools, only rags, and your hands. You gag. You scrape with a broken shard of clay. You press your palms into a substance you don't even want to name. It takes hours. Your skin stains. Your spirit splits. And when you're done, a guard walks by. He glances, spits, murmurs, didn't do it right, then walks on. That night a senator arrives. You know because the air changes. Perfume swirls. Torches are lit. Servants rush like mice in a storm. You're told to help unload. You do. Silks, scrolls, a golden dish. The litter lowers and the senator steps down. He sees you, for a fraction of a second, and then looks away. Like you're smoke, like you're not real enough to see. And in that moment, you feel the divide between the myth and the truth. They will write poems about this man. They'll say he brought civilization. They'll carve his face into stone. They'll call him a pillar of the Republic. But he did not lift the stone that broke your wrist. He did not kneel in filth while someone spit in his direction. You did. And he will never know your name. You sit by the dying forge that night. Ash clings to your hands. Smoke kisses your lungs. Across from you, the old woman with the rusted box. She hasn't spoken in weeks, but tonight she does. Her voice is rough, a whisper wrapped in fire. They tell you this is glory, she says, that you're part of something great. You nod, not in agreement, in knowing. She spits in the dirt. They told me the same, took me from Crete, said I'd serve in a temple. She laughs, dry and dangerous. I served, but it wasn't the gods." Then she looks up, and you see her eyes for what they are. Burning. "There are no clean empires," she says, "only clean lies." The silence stretches. You let it sit. Then you say softly, "But they say Rome will last forever." She smiles, crooked, toothless, terrible, true. So will roaches. One morning, a poet comes, a guest of the master. He walks in silk slippers. He asks for a slave to escort him through the vineyard. You're chosen. He talks while you walk, of muses, of conquest, of eternal glory. He quotes Virgil, says Rome is the light of the world. You don't speak. He doesn't notice. Then suddenly, he pauses, sniffs. "You smell like iron," he says. You nod. "I work the forge." He wrinkles his nose. "No poetry in that," he says. You want to laugh, because you've seen the forge glow like a heart on fire. You've heard the hiss of steel meeting water. You've felt the spark leap from metal to palm like a ghost. No poetry. You live in a world of unspoken poems, of blood verses, of silent stanzas. He just doesn't know how to read them. But you don't say that. You walk on, because you've learned something else. They don't want the truth. They want the myth, where slaves are happy, where empires are kind, where suffering looks like nobility. But you've tasted the truth, and it tastes like vinegar on a rusted tongue. This is Rome, worms in yesterday's bread, oil spilled, licked from dirt, a girl retching beside a pig, a rod hung proudly on the wall, your name forgotten before it's spoken. You are not a citizen. You are not a servant. You are the silence that holds up the lie. And yet, you are still here, still breathing, still watching, still remembering. And somehow, that is rebellion, because the myth depends on forgetting. But you remember. You carry it. The next time a child asks you what Rome is, you'll know what to say. You won't speak of marble. You won't quote poets. You'll say, Rome is a sewer that smells like roses only if you've never lived inside it. Rome is a god that eats its worshippers. Rome is a statue, but the real empire was always bleeding just out of frame. You are not Rome's servant. You are Rome's consequence. And one day, they may carve your story too. Not in marble, but in truth. The sky doesn't just hang grey above you. It feels wounded, like someone struck the heavens hard, and the bruise is still spreading. No birds, no wind, just silence, thick and brittle, waiting to shatter. You wake in your cot, the same one where too many nights have passed you by, unloved and unnoticed. Your back aches, your lungs sting, but it isn't pain that rouses you. It's the silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind before something cracks. You step outside, no hammering, no footsteps, no shouted names, just dust dragging itself across the courtyard, as if the world is exhausted. You pass the stables, 3 stalls are empty. The master's war cart is gone, and you know, before anyone confirms it, you know, they've fled. At the well, a child is crying, not loudly, but truly. She is holding something in her hand. A shred of fabric, familiar, patterned with kitchen soot and rosemary stains. Your chest tightens. It belonged to her mother. The woman who hummed as she stirred gruel. The one who always saved a crust of bread for the littlest hands. She didn't wake up this morning. And now the girl holds memory in her fist. The song is gone. But the silence it left behind rings louder than any hymn. You feel a space open inside you. A hollow place, not grief, not yet, something else, room, a space where something might begin again. By midday, it becomes fact. The overseer, vanished. The centurion gone. The guards, shadows in the trees. There is no whip. There is no bell. There is no list. For the first time in your life, there is no order. Just the pause. The breath before history pivots. No one cheers. No one weeps. Everyone waits, tensed, like the sky might fall or Rome might remember you exist. But it doesn't, and maybe it never did. You gather near the olive grove. Someone speaks, then silence, then the voice you've come to trust more than most, the old woman with the rusted box. She steps forward like she was born for this moment. Her voice is dry, cracked, but unshakable. They're not coming back. She looks at each face. The gates are open. The fields are ours. We decide what happens next. It doesn't sound like victory. It sounds like the first breath after drowning, like a wound that's scabbing for the first time. You meet her eyes, and you know, this is the moment that changes everything. You move quickly, before fear can creep back in. You assign teams to clean the well. You open the grain storage. You post the 3 strongest blacksmith boys near the gates, not to trap yourselves, to choose when to open them. Choice, that's what freedom feels like now. Not parades, not songs, just choice. The forge burns again, but it smells different. Not like imposition, like purpose. Knives are no longer polished for masters. They're sharpened for defense. Baskets no longer gather taxes. They carry medicine and hope, and for the first time, the younger ones don't flinch when you approach. They don't scatter like ash. They look at you and wait. For guidance, for permission to believe in tomorrow. But freedom doesn't come clean. That night, a man collapses. His breath rattles like a loose window. His skin is pale. His hands twitch. You know the signs. The plague has reached the inner quarters. The boy, the one you shielded from the rod months ago, brings him water. Kneels beside him. Silent, steady, you don't speak. Because resistance doesn't always mean fire. Sometimes it means staying. You sit with the man until his chest stills. You help bury him. Not with pomp, not with prayers. You press your palm to the dirt and whisper in your thoughts, you were not forgotten. 3 days pass. Still no soldiers, still no masters. But rumors come like embers on wind. Rome is crumbling, the cities are burning, even senators are dying. The gods say nothing, but the earth listens. You plant lentils outside the orchard. with your bare hands. The soil doesn't ask who owns it. Maybe it never did. Maybe the lie wasn't that you were owned, but that anything ever truly was. On the 6th day, the boy comes again. Older now, a little taller, eyes sharper. He hands you a bundle wrapped in cloth. Inside, a silver seal, the mark of the villa's master. Dropped, forgotten, fled. This was the thing that signed your worthlessness into law. That wrote death without names. That approved lashes and withheld grain. Now it lies in your hand, cold, meaningless, and so very, very heavy. You don't hesitate. You toss it into the forge. It hisses, burns, cracks, vanishes. The boy watches and says nothing, because this moment says everything. That night, you gather everyone, not as slaves, as something else, people, builders, bearers of memory. The courtyard glows dimly by forge coals and oil flames. The air smells like sage and ash and breath. You speak, we are not what they said we were. You let the words settle, then continue. They told us we were tools, property, replaceable. You raise your hands calloused, scarred, alive. But they forgot something. You make a fist. These hands build. These minds remember. These names will echo. They will, because now the myth is broken, and you hold the truth. Not in scrolls, but in scars. Not in monuments, but in breath that refuses to stop. There will be no statue of this night. But this is a monument. A boy's hand gripping a bucket. A girl lighting a fire with flint and confidence. An old woman grinding herbs with memory. You, standing in the center of it all. Not as property, as proof. In the distance, wolves howl. But fear doesn't return. Because inside these ruined walls, a new Rome is stirring, not of marble, not of blood, a Rome of people who learned how to survive while already dead, and then remembered how to live again. You kneel at the earth, place a lentil seed in the dirt, cover it gently, and whisper, "Let this be the beginning." The seed doesn't answer, but the world does. A breeze stirs, the first you've felt in days. Light, cool software, like a breath through history. This day will echo through time. Not because it was loud, because it was real. And remembered, the sun sets like a secret. Not with a shout, not with urgency, but with a soft, slow exhale, as if the world had been holding its breath for generations, and finally lets it go. The sky blooms and bruises in colour. Orange, then violet, then velvet shadow folding quietly over the hills like a blanket pulled over a tired child. The earth does not go quiet because it's empty. It goes quiet because it's listening. The air changes. You taste it before you breathe it. No ash, no sweat, no iron sting of fear, no rot of unspoken pain. Instead, just warmth, olive bark, crushed herbs still lingering on someone's fingertips, and dirt, honest dirt, the kind that holds seeds, not shackles. You sit on a warm stone near the forge. Its surface still holds the heat of the vanished sun. In your lap, a bowl of lentils, simple, earthy, seasoned, garlic, salt. something else. Maybe rosemary. It doesn't matter what. What matters is, no one rationed this to you. No one stood over you with a tally stick. No one claimed it first. You made this. You chose this. This moment is yours. The stars arrive, not in pairs or clusters. They flood. 1,000 gentle torches in the sky's great vault. You forgot the sky could hold this much light. For years, when you looked up, it was with dread, as if the heavens were a ledger, recording every mistake. But tonight, the stars don't judge. They simply witness, like kind elders, like a friend who sees everything and still stays. They do what Rome never did. They see you. The courtyard quiets, but it is not the hush of submission. It is the stillness of belonging. The boy from the orchard sharpens sticks with a stone. Not for war, for roasted roots. The old woman, the one with the rusted box, hums again. This time it's not a warding song, not a protection chant. It's soft, round lullaby, maybe prayer, maybe both. Children gather near her like fireflies around warmth. One girl traces a spiral in the dirt. Another scrawls letters beside it. A name, not fully formed, but beginning. Maybe her name, maybe yours. You don't ask. Some truths are sacred when kept. You lean back. The stone wall scratches slightly against your shoulders. But it's solid. Real. You close your eyes, not to escape, but to listen. Not for commands, not for marching feet, just the sigh of oxen in sleep, the soft clink of a clay bowl, the rustle of someone adjusting their blanket, a breath caught in someone's throat, not from fear, but from wonder. Even ordinary sounds are holy now, because tonight isn't just rest, it's ritual. A goodbye to the world that broke you. A welcome to the one you are now shaping. One breath at a time. A small weight presses against your side. The child, the one who survived the fever, crawls into the crook of your arm. She says nothing. She doesn't ask. She doesn't have to. She presses something into your palm. You look. A string of beads, old, uneven, made from olive pits, bone, pebbles, bits of copper wire. She tied them herself, knotted them tight. You don't ask what they mean. You already know. It's not decoration. It's a story. And she is trusting you to carry it forward. You tie it around your wrist. It fits. Somehow it fits. Fire flickers in the grove nearby. It doesn't signal danger. It signals memory. A small circle forms. No hierarchy. No guards. No masters. Just voices telling stories, but not the ones Rome chiseled into stone. No gods. No emperors. No wars. Just truth. Simple, sacred things. A mother who taught weaving with vines, a brother who could mimic bird calls, a friend who always saved the last bite of honey bread. No one asks if they're true. That's not what stories are for. The telling makes them true. The memory makes them live again. You rise slowly. Your body creaks. You are older now. In the way iron becomes strong from fire. Someone presses a mug into your hands. Warm milk, crushed almond, a touch of honey, a miracle, a memory of sweetness that doesn't come with a price. You sip slowly, and it coats your throat like silk, like forgiveness. The flute begins, a lone melody, high and thin, but then a clay pot adds a rhythm. A hum threads underneath, another joins, a harmony, imperfect but sincere. Voices, no words, just sound, like breath turned into music. It fills the night, wraps the olive trees, washes over the stone walls, spills upward toward the sky. You let it reach you, you let it hold you, you let it belong, and as you listen, you feel something rise. A peace that does not ask permission. You lie down, a woven mat beneath you. The child nestles against your chest. Her fingers grip the edge of your tunic like a tether, not of fear, but of trust. You don't move, not because you're tired, because you don't want to. Stillness has become a kind of prayer. Someone lays a blanket over you. You don't look, but you smile. It smells of lavender and wood smoke, and it is warm. So much warmth, not from fire, from people. You remember the first night you slept here, how the cot felt like a cage, how your own breath sounded like thunder in your chest, how you whispered to yourself, "If I survive, I will remember who I was." You did, but you did more. You changed what it meant to survive. You turned broken spoons into shovels. You turned silence into story. You turned your existence into resistance. And now, under a sky that no longer punishes you, with a heartbeat that no longer hides, you sleep, not in surrender, in arrival. Final thematic echo, refrain. You were never just a servant, you were the story, the hands that built, the eyes that watched, the heart that remembered when everyone else forgot. And now, as the stars lean closer, and the wind traces your name like a promise, and the child breathes softly beside you, you let go, not of your past, but of your fear. And in the hollow it leaves behind. A future plants its first seed. Sleep now. You've earned this. Tomorrow they will speak your name, and this time you'll speak back. The fire has long gone out. All that remains is a thin ribbon of smoke, curling lazily into the grey-blue hush of dawn. It smells like cedar, like ash, like memory. The coals beneath it still hold warmth, not flame, not light, but the afterglow of something that mattered. Like breath after the last word is spoken, like a heart that no longer races, but still beats. You haven't moved, not out of weariness, not from pain, but because, for the first time in years, you don't have to. There's no bell, no barked command, no urgent call to lift, haul, serve, survive. Only the wind moving slow, and your breath steady, unclaimed. Your back is sore, your legs stiff, but your body doesn't tremble anymore. You sit up gently, blanket slipping off your shoulders. The child still sleeps, pressed into your side. She clutches the corner of your shirt in her fist, as if afraid even dreams could steal you away. Her hair is tangled, wild, beautiful, a crown of olive branches in miniature. You brush a leaf from her curls. and you think, without drama, without tears, she will never remember the sound of the whip. She will remember the singing, and that thought weighs more than any stone you ever carried. The stars begin to vanish one by one, fading, not in shame, but in grace. Like elders stepping quietly into the shadows, you wonder if they saw you last night, when your voice was just breath, when your silence finally spoke. They have watched you longer than Rome, longer than empire, longer than fear. And now they witness something rare. Peace not given, claimed. You rise slowly. Your knees crack. Your spine protests. But it doesn't hurt the way it once did. You walk barefoot across the courtyard. The stones are still warm from memory. You pass the master's hall. The doors hang open, hollow and harmless now. Shutters clatter in the breeze. The mosaic tiles are cracked. The statues have no faces. Once, this would have filled you with terror. Now, gentleness. Because now you understand. Even marble crumbles. Even power rots. Even gods turn to dust. And in that dust, new seeds grow. Near the garden wall, someone left a bundle of basil. Fresh, sharp, green, wrapped in cloth. Held down by a small stone. No note, but you understand it's a gift, a ritual, a beginning. You crush one leaf between your fingers, smell it rise, and smile. A real smile. Not stolen, not swallowed, not forced into silence. You pass the rows of beans, the stacked firewood, the goats dreaming beneath shade. Everywhere there is life, not controlled, not ordered, but chosen. And it exists because someone, you, believed it could. Because you believed that the story didn't have to end in servitude. That your name could live in the soil, not just vanish into chains. You reached the well, the one you scrubbed until your hands bled, the one poisoned, cursed, feared. It's clean now. A new rope, a balanced stone weight. You pull up water. It rises like truth, clear, cold, honest. You drink. It tastes like stone. Like iron, like freedom. You close your eyes, and in that one sip, you let the past release its grip. You let go of what they did, what they called you, what they took. You let go, not in forgetfulness, but in remaking. You are no longer what was done to you. You are what you chose after. You walk toward the orchard. The sun rises in full. It is not timid. It is not silent. It is gold, fierce, alive. Its light hits the leaves and they glow, as if every olive remembers. You turn, look back, at the people waking. A woman grinding herbs with her fingers. A boy sweeping dust from the stone path. An old man humming. Hands in the dirt. No one waits for orders. They move like authors, each step a sentence, each breath a story. And you realize they're writing tomorrow. One seed, one spoon, one sunrise at a time. You press your palm to the oldest olive tree. Its bark is rough, like skin that's seen war. But it stands, so do you. Even if no scroll names you, even if no poet sings your deeds, even if the world forgets, the land knows. It remembers your hands, your sweat, your breath, and that is enough. You close your eyes, let the breeze kiss your eyelids, Let the sun hold your face, and listen. Can you hear it? That faint echo? It's your voice. Not broken, not begging, just speaking. Calm, certain, free. You are not erased. You are never invisible. You are the reason this place still breathes. You are the fire that didn't go out. You are the story. So now, one final question. For you, the listener, you who followed the dirt-caked footprints, who knelt beside graves without names, who saw the whip fall and didn't look away. You, would you have survived a single day in this world? Tell me below. I would have endured. I would have broken. I don't know, but I understand now. Whatever your answer is, it matters, not because it's heroic, because it's honest. And that is what history has always needed. You carried this story, not just with your eyes, with your heart, with your time. You honored the forgotten, simply by not forgetting. And for that, you belong to the story now, too. If you made it this far, you are not like most. You are a keeper of the unsaid, a bearer of names never carved, a witness strong enough to hold sorrow without turning away. That matters. That always mattered. You carry ancient voices in your blood. And some of them, they're still whispering. In the wind, in the soil, in your own pulse. Listen for them. They will find their way back. Sleep well, storyteller. You've earned it. And when we return, we'll find you again. Somewhere in time.